Well, unless you're old as dirt, then you probably have not seen one of these. You may have seen a replacement for it, but this is an original. It's first or I guess second generation technically. Very old. It needs a little bit of work to get it going again. I'm sure a few people when they see this are going to get a good laugh out of it, of how far we've gone in the last 40 years. Let's check it out. Okay, this thing's a relic from the past. This is a Freedom phone. And this is probably first generation cordless phone. This was this antique was brought to me from a relative that wants me to look at it, and normally I would say throw this thing out, but the fact that this thing is as old as it is, and they think it's not working because the batteries are bad. Oh yeah, oh yeah, look at this. When's the last time you saw a Radio Shack Extra Life zinc carbon battery that's not leaking, and yet there's a Duraleak in here which is thoroughly leaking, and this thing has a best used by January 1997. So this is like 28 years old, this battery. Well, it's more than that. It's probably closer to 38 years old, because typically these things had a 10-year shelf life from the time that they were manufactured, even if it was 5 years. Best of installed by January 97. It's old. I mean, it's so old it's leaking from the top as well as from the bottom. And yeah, but at the same time, the good old, throw this in the garbage can, the good old Radio Shack Miracle Seal non-alkaline battery from the same era is not leaking. It says for transistor products, just to say a transistor battery. Does it have a date on here? I'm wondering if there's a date code. There might be a date code on here. Let's just look and see. Radio Shack, Fort Worth, Texas. Where was it made? Usually there's a date code on the bottom here. What's that say? Can I read it? I wonder if there's any charge left in this. There won't be. I think the battery will be dead. But what the hell? I mean, come on. It's 27 years old. There's not going to be any charge left in this battery. It's not a chance that this battery will have any type of a charge in it. And yet it does. It has 1.3 volts. So it's low. But it's not dead. Which is amazing. Somehow I think the NiCad cells in here are not going to be as lucky. I'm sure that the NiCad cells are all shot on here, and that's why it doesn't work. I don't know how to work this stupid thing. I guess that's the button you push to talk. Huh. Well, it appears to work, but I've been told that the battery is no good. What's it use for battery? Oh, it uses these ones. Well, I'm not going to have one of these cells, unfortunately. It uses 3. Yeah, it uses 3 of these cells, and I'm not going to have anything that size. Now, that doesn't mean I couldn't make up a battery pack and stick it inside the phone, because I could make up a nickel metal hydride pack and put it inside here. You see, it's the battery is dead. The cell is no good. So I mean, I certainly could make up a cell pack and maybe stick it in the back here. See what's inside here. See if there's room that I can actually shoehorn in some regular batteries, because that's what I was asked to do. And again, it's a relative's phone, so it's not like I'm making any money on this. No money in repairs, you know. And I'm not going to be doing any more repairs for anybody out of the States for the foreseeable future. Unfortunately, I've had to shut down that operation. It wasn't my choice. It was the American administration Good old Donald Trump with his tariffs and all the, oh, look at the inside of this thing. Cool. All the everything coming into the States now is going to be subject to a tariff. Oh, look, somebody's already been in here and changed this out. It's been soldered on. So basically what it means is that effective next week, when the tariffs kick in, I and anybody else in Canada wanting to ship anything to the United States by post will have to go on the U.S. Customs website and prepay the tariff, because unlike in Canada, if somebody sends something here that's subject to tax, and that's only if it's over a certain amount. It used to be that the amount coming into Canada is $20. If you're shipping something that's broken, for example, it doesn't have a value, and there's no taxes or tariffs charged, except for the dummies that go and declare something like this as being worth $150, and then they got to pay the tax to get it in. But it's always been anything under $800 going south. There's never been any, there's been no paperwork to fill out. But now everything, even there's no charge on it, everything has to be documented and everything has to be captured on their system. And I've made the decision that I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do the work. I'm not going to go to the U.S. Website and register the product that's going to be returned and put a declared value for the product that's going to be returned, so that I can get the tax calculation out and then contact the customer and tell the customer they've got to pay the tax plus the repair fee plus the shipping plus PayPal's conversion fee, and when it comes time to pay the American taxes, well, that'll be done on a credit card, so there'll be a 2.5% transaction fee on top of that. All these fees would be added up and sent back to the customer, and they would have to prepay them before I would complete their work for them. So I've just decided that, for the amount of work that I bring in from the States, it's not worth my trouble to do it. I've talked to a few other people that I know, and they feel the same way as me. We're just saying, to hell with it. It's not worth our trouble to do it, right? It's if the U.S. system was set up like Canada, where I could just walk into the post office and mail something, which is what I can do here at my local post office. I go to a full-service post office. I basically walk in with a package. It's got the shipping address on it. I put it on the scale. They weigh it. They measure it. I pay them. They put a sticker on it. It's gone. That's it. It takes me 5 minutes to mail a package. But if I'm going to have to sit down on my computer and spend 15 or 20 minutes doing paperwork and then have to remit a payment before I can even ship it, and print out the paperwork and attach all the documents to the box, well, someone's got to pay me for my time to do that. So it's become to the point where it's just going to be cost prohibitive for myself and for many other small businesses to bother. So unfortunately, until something changes down on that side of the line, in other words, until the senile old fart that's in office, and I can think of more colorful words to call him than that, but as long as he's there, it's going to not going to be good. And we'll just not deal business with you guys, unfortunately. Now, there's no way I'm going to fit AA cells in here, but I can fit 3 of the AAA size nickel metal hydride cells in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run down to the dollar store. I'm going to pick up some Panasonic AAA nickel metal hydride, because see, these were nickel metal hydride as well. So I can package up, I'll make a battery pack with 3 AAA cells, and we'll get those in here and get this phone fixed up. Anyway, I figured you guys, maybe we'll look at the inside of this thing before I do that. So this is just a standard 4649 megahertz radio on here. The handset transmits on 49 megahertz back to the base station, and the base station transmits on 46 back here. And you can see right here, here's your filter. Right here's your filter, 4649. So it's a bandpass filter to reject frequencies out of the 46 and 49 megahertz band. That's what that does. So I got a radio receiver and a radio transmitter and a chip down here to control it. There are 10 channels, so you would just press the channel button to change to the next channel. Is how these ones worked. The base station, gotta clean up that mess, but the base station also will have a 46 and 49 megahertz radio in it. So we'll pop this apart while I've got it here, and then I'll go about building a battery pack. This was Southwestern Bell who made this phone. And it's from the Philippines. That's where this one was made, as it says right here. Made in the Philippines, so it wasn't made in China. But this is old. This phone goes back. This is going to go back to the 80s. This phone, for sure. Because we'd moved up to 900 megahertz, and then from 900 we moved to 2.4 gigahertz. And then everything from there went to the DECT 6.0, which is not 6 gigahertz, as some people think. It's actually 1.7 gigahertz is where that band is. But here's the inside of this one. Got a keypad here. Circuit board for that one. Speaker for the speaker phone. Here's the charging terminals for the handset. And the antenna over here, and the radio itself. And again, got that same filter. Now 46 and 49 megahertz bandpass filter. You see the coils themselves, they've sealed them off so people don't get in there and start tweaking them. Got a crystal here. And with some of that wonderful glue that just goes conductive. Take some of this crap out of here. I don't see any of it on the board, so that's a good sign. This over here, this is a transient suppressor. It's probably just a neon lamp. It might be neon, it might be filled with argon, it might be just filled with xenon gas or something, but typically what that's for is if a high voltage surge were to come down the telephone line. There's a fuse here, which is going to be in line with the phone line, and this would then would arc over, it would conduct and blow the fuse. And that's to prevent if there was, say, a lightning strike or primary power to drop onto the phone line and get down the phone line. That's to stop it before it starts a fire. Right, so that's what that's for. Gas tube, gas discharge tube surge suppressor. And this is what most you had on your house for your copper phone line when we had copper phone lines, because I mean copper phone lines are pretty much non-existent now. The area that I'm at, everything's been converted over to fiber here. We still have our traditional phone, but it's generated from an ONT, an optical network terminal, inside your house. So your telephone line is never going to be hit by lightning and bring high voltage into the house anymore, because fiber optic is glass. Glass is an insulator. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. But in the days where these were connected to copper networks, that was certainly a real possibility. And most homes had a gas tube protector on the side of the house. Older ones may have had carbon protectors, or carbon was the biggest one that was used prior to gas tube.
There were fused carbons as well.
Carbon protectors or a gas tube like this. And they were switching out the carbon protectors for gas tube because carbon protectors would kill ADSL and VDSL, so they had to be swapped over. But anyway, that's the guts to the base station. See, it's quite a bit going on here, and you see these chips are shielded. And that's because the transmitter here, I guess they were afraid that the transmit would interfere with some of the circuits, so they shielded them. Or the integrated circuits would interfere with the radio. That's probably more like it, is that the processors here would generate enough RF that they would be picked up and cause a desensing of the receiver. But it's just a basic FM transmitter, FM receiver, tuned to 1 of 10, and you can switch it. So 10 frequencies in that 46 to 49 megahertz. Motorola processors, MC34118P. That's the guts to it. Speakerphone as well on here. You see, it's got a speakerphone, it's got an intercom. Put this piece back together, and then I'm going to go find some batteries that I think we'll be able to use. How do I shut this off here? Flash, hold, in use, speaker. There we go. Intercom. I guess that tries to page this, which we'll get that going. We'll get that going when I get some batteries for it. I know what you guys are going to say. Why is anybody still using an analog cordless phone? Because anybody with a scanner can listen to them, and that's true. Anybody with a scanner can listen into these old cordless phones. However, not everybody has secrets to hide. Nobody cares about someone on the phone asking how the weather is. These cells, will they fit? Will they fit? I'll make them fit. I will make these cells fit. Yeah, I can make these cells fit. They're going to be a tight fit, but I will make them fit. I got the little spot welder here. We're going to use this little portable one just because it's a heck of a lot more convenient than dragging out that big one and setting it up for welding a couple cells. First things first, maybe I'll use this cross-cut file here to take off this electrode a bit. Make it smaller so that it'll fit better, because it's the tight fit. So we'll just grind this down. Actually, you know what? I'll get my Dremel out and we'll use the grinding wheel and cut that down a bit, just so that it's a little bit shorter. That's better. We'll do the same for the other two. I'll take it down a little bit more. As long as I can still spot weld a tab onto it, then we're good. Alright, now I'm going to spot weld my terminals on here. Do one on the top side here. We'll just tack this down. It's set for 20 joules. I think that might be, it might be okay for this one. We'll see if it tacks or not. But we'll put the tab on here and we'll see if it sticks. And it did stick, so that's good. We'll do the same for the second connection here on top of here. Got to get this right in here because got to hit this dead center. That should be on there now, which it is. So now I can turn the cell over. And we'll do the other side, which is this one here. So now I've made a cell, a battery pack, and these cells are charged from the factory, so we should get some juice off of here. We have 3.8 volts, which is what I expect. And of course this is the tab that I'll solder the wires onto. before I stuff it back into the phone. There's my pack. Now I'll attach it to the wires going to the old battery pack, the one that's shot, and we'll stuff it in the phone. The actual tabs came off the other one with the wire still spot welded on, so I'm just going to spot weld these onto the tabs that I just put on. Actually, I could probably pull this tab off and just spot weld it right to the bottom of the battery. There. That ought to do it. Let's put the battery in here if I can. I have to do a bit of fancy work here to get the battery to sit in here, but I'm sure I can work with this and get this installed. With a little bit of coaxing, the battery goes down there just fine. And with the extra pressure from the tight fit, it's never coming out. Is it working? Let's see here. I think that means it works. I believe that means it works. Okay, let's try it out. I'm going to plug it in the phone line, and we'll see what works. Okay, let's make a telephone call with this cordless phone. How do I work this? Press that button. I got no power. If we look on the meter, I've got power here. Oops. Might help if I put the meter in the right mode. 3.8 volts there, but if I go to the terminals here, I got 0. So, we are not making a connection. Which side is not connecting? I got nothing there. Okay, let's try this side. Do I have power across this side here? Yeah, I got. That one's working. So I got power. So this one's not working here, right? Or does it connect sometime? Maybe this connector is just the wrong connector. This is the one that was on there, but I only got 0.1 volts. But if I measure from the positive terminal to the negative of the battery, I've got 0.5. And if I go and measure from the positive battery terminal to the negative terminal, I got 3.8 here. I should have 3.8 across here. I got no connection between the positive and the, it might be just this plug here. I should have nothing across there, and I had 3 volts. That would explain why it's not working. It just beeps. This plug here, I think, is bad. Because I do have continuity when I measure from the pins. When I measure from the pins here to here, I have continuity, but I've got no power making it through this stupid plug. So I wonder what's wrong with the plug. It might be this here is not gripping tight enough. So we'll just crank it up a bit and pop this back in. Do we get Power now. I hear a beeping, like it's telling me that the battery's dead or something, but I got no voltage here. Well, now I do. Now I got power here. Okay. Is it going to work now? Probably not. I got to more than likely pair this with the base unit. So we'll just put it on here and pair it. I have a dial tone. Okay, let me put it back together. Unplug this. We'll put the phone, we'll snap the phone back together, put a couple screws in to hold it together, and then I'll test it and hopefully it will work. I don't want to pull these batteries out of here, so I didn't put the screw in the bottom, just in case it ever has to come apart. I don't want to have to pull these cells out. They're in there real tight. I think that buzzing is to indicate that it's not paired. When it pairs, the channel light blinks here for a second, and I will now phone my cell phone, and you guys don't get to see what the number is. Is it going to ring? Yep. Let's see how the sound is. Okay. Yeah, the sound sounds good, actually. So this cordless phone works. Good. Excellent. Now we'll deal with the antenna. Hello, hello, hello. Yep, sound as clear as a bell. So it works. It's also got an intercom on it. How does that work? Okay, and do I hit intercom on here? Hello, hello. Oh yeah. I can hear it on the base station. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Yep. Yeah, I can hear it on here, and the person on the base station can hear it. Not very loud, but it's there. So this one's fixed. We're going to deal with the antenna, because this is kind of like, it's got a little loading coil on here and everything. The antenna is falling apart. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put what pieces I have for the antenna on there, and then just put some heat shrink tubing on the rest of it. A piece of heat shrink tubing over there, what remains of the antenna, and we'll shrink that down. There. That's not going anywhere. It's not coming off. Back in service. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the look at this old vintage Freedom phone. I haven't seen one of these things in many years. I actually do have an old Sony cordless phone. Same idea. 46, 49 megahertz. Same idea, but mine has a handset on it, and this one has a speakerphone you can dial out from. Mine actually has a handset. I should dig that one out and see if I can get that one to work. I'm sure it needs new batteries. I'm sure that's why I put it in a box and put it in storage, you know, years and years ago, because I wasn't planning on using it, and got better phones. But anyway, it's an interesting look at what we used to use back in the 1980s for cordless phones. This is actually, I guess, second generation, as the first generation used 1.8 megahertz, just above the AM broadcast band. So actually on 160 meters, they used an AM transmitter that actually put out a fair bit of power on the base station. They put out a watt or two to get to the handset, and the handset had a little ferrite antenna inside for the AM section, because it was AM. I'm pretty sure it was AM, or maybe it was FM. I'm pretty sure it was AM, but it was 1.8 megahertz. And and 49 FM from the handset to the base, and it was like 1.8 AM from the base to the handset. That was first generation. And then the second generation came out shortly after. 46 megahertz is the backhaul from the base to the handset. And I know lots of my ham friends back in the day with their 6-meter radios used to have a field day because they could set their radio up for a split. You knew the frequency. If it was 49.1, the other one was 46.1. And they'd tune in the base radio, which was usually fairly strong, and they could hear both sides of the conversation through duplex, right? You hear both sides on the 46, but you could transmit on the 49, and with lots of power you could overtake the power from the handset, and the person who's on the cordless phone has no idea, because they're busy yapping away, and you go in there and you make a comment in the background and they don't know what's going on, but the person on the other end of the phone hears you. Not admitting to any of this activity, but I was witness to a friend that he used to get his kicks out of listening to the locals, and when they were phoning to order Chinese food or a pizza or something, he would change the order by talking over them, and I want an extra large with anchovies, and then the person on the phone would repeat it back and say, no, I don't want anchovies, I want a Hawaiian. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. I mean, this is going way back. This is going back to before I was a ham. But I was, my few of my neighbors were hams, and I would listen to the shenanigans that they would do with their 6-meter radios. It was lots of fun back then. I don't think the people on the phone thought it was fun. I don't think the people in the restaurants thought it was fun, but we sure got a kick out of it. Only one thing left to do on this phone, and that is clean the crap off of the battery terminals from the backup battery. I got a couple of Q-tips with vinegar. This will neutralize. You can see it bubbling away there. This will neutralize and clean up the mess left from the batteries that went corroded in here. These batteries are only to power the phone up. I think it's probably to hold the memory for calls. I don't think it's going to power the phone up. 3 volts isn't going to power the transmitter or anything on this, but it would certainly keep your call list, any memories that you had set, because I think you can set memories in here, right? So you could store them, and I think that's what that's for, is to store those phone numbers. Because I don't think it'll work. I'll try unplugging. Well, I don't have any batteries in there, but if I put some batteries in, I'll try unplugging it and see what happens. See whether it works or not. I don't think so, though. I think it's just going to be for the memory backup. Okay. We hear the phone going here. Put over the microphone. I'm going to unplug the power. And does the phone continue to work? No, it doesn't. So those batteries that are in the bottom here, all they're for was backing up the memory, so you don't need to worry about those too much. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.